Thank you for joining the Twincast. It's the podcast where business and faith are our foundation, and a good laugh is always on the house. We're identical twin sisters navigating the real estate world one deal at a time. I'm Cherie, your go-to lender, helping you with all things finance. And I'm Nicole, your favorite realtor, helping you find the perfect place to call home. The Twincast starts now. And if you're just not joining us, here's a few things that you need to know. We're top 1% in our field. We have over a decade of experience in our field. And with our unique twin dynamic, we offer our clients an undeniable edge. This translates to huge monetary savings through stronger negotiations and smarter financing strategies. Alrighty, so we have a very hot topic today, near and dear to my heart. Go ahead and tell us what it is.
I'll title it for you.
Thank you.
It's advocacy versus representation. They are not the same thing, and the people need to know that they're not the same thing. And so Nicole was at a showing today, and she's going to give you a little bit of the backstory so you can understand where we're coming from here and how that is going to help you in the future as you're looking for homes, as you're deciding who your buyer's agent is, and you're looking for representation. That does not always equal advocacy. So typically when you sign a buyer's representation, that's usually the first thing that you do when you pick an agent. But in some cases, that does not mean that you're going to be advocated for.
Huge deal. So the backstory on this and why the podcast transpired is because I got a call Saturday with a buyer who wanted to see one of my listings. So, we chatted for just a few minutes and I asked, do you have a buyer's rep? Are you being represented at this time? And he said, no, he hasn't signed any agreements with anyone. And that was fine. So I said, okay, well, perfect. I'll go show you a home and in my listing. And that was fine. But as we talked here and there through the weekend, and today came, so I showed him the house, and as I'm opening the door, he says, "Well, I just signed a buyer's agreement with an agent," and I said, "Oh, why am I here then?"
Well, that is a very good question, Nicole. Why are you there showing a home to a person that is being represented, right? That agent should be there accompanying their buyer, right?
Absolutely. I went into, he hasn't purchased a home before. I took a lot of time to really navigate him through the process, and he was apologetic and said,
Wait. Before you go into that part, what was his answer when you told him,
"Oh," so his answer, which was, well, I did some research and I talked to an agent, and they told me to sign the buyer's rep agreement and to go look for houses. And when he found a home, she would help him write the contract.
how gracious of her to write the contract, because that is only the beginning. I mean, that is almost like, I don't want to say the beginning, that's like the last part of it after
The
you.
very last part of finding a home is writing the contract. There are so many things that go into before you find a home, and things that you as a consumer need to know. Just signing an agreement. I mean, that agreement, it was very reflective of the agent who said, just go look at homes without, I would never send my buyer out looking for homes without me being present, because I am there to advocate for my buyer and represent them and say, hey, did you see that crack on the above the window? Did you see the roof looks like it's missing a few shingles? Did you see that window? It's broken. As I am their advocate, as they're looking at the bright and shiny objects in the island in the kitchen, I'm looking at things that are not functioning as intended, and that's representing my buyer. That's my responsibility.
Absolutely. I mean, and you're advocating for I mean, as you should when you go to a showing, you should be working for that customer. And so when she sent them basically into shark waters, to basically just, say, because you were greeted with that, I mean, you were given that information, and he was probably greeted with not a so friendly situation, because not any listing agent that has just talked to somebody days ago that said, I don't have representation, now coming to a showing and saying, I do have representation. I mean, it just made the whole experience uncomfortable. So why the buyer's agent told him to do that, I have no idea, but this is not the first time we've heard this story. And I fear it will not be the last. But the moral of the story is your buyer's agent should be working for you, looking for things, explaining the process to you, negotiating for you, doing all these things. Finding the home is also their responsibility.
And that's what I said. I told the buyer, look, there's so many things that go into this, and he had not purchased a home. He said he was apologetic and said that he didn't know the process, which that may be the case, but as the buyer's agent, that the process should have been explained to
Yeah.
him. One, two, three, four, five. I mean, all the steps in between, and there's so many. He asked questions about making an offer and how much he should offer and things like this in regards to, I mean, that is his buyer's agent responsibility, who he signed the agreement with, who left him out there to go look at homes and not just, I mean, it could have been a complete waste of time and everybody's,
Hmm.
for everyone.
Hmm.
And really, it could have, she could have wrote a contract on the property, possibly, had she also been there to advocate for her client and say, hey, this is, and I had to take that, in consideration. My seller still needs to sell this home. So taking that even in consideration that he already had a buyer's agent who said, just I'll write the contract for you. I had to take in consideration that my client still needs to sell their home. So that aside, hey, this house has the lowest interest rate on the block. It's a great home. Hey, you can get in here with zero down. He didn't have any idea how much money he needed. I mean, there were so many steps that were missed in between because his buyer's agent wasn't advocating or representing him at all.
So he forego his strategy, negotiation. I mean, all that was just left out there for him to, figure out himself, for him to come back and report to his buyer's agent how the showing went. I mean, that is almost insulting. If
I
some,
mean, and then the house could have been a wreck. Not my listings, but it could have been a wreck, and she would have known any different because she wasn't there looking at the home. So how could she say, "Oh well, did you see that crack in that window? Did you? Well, this house won't go VA or whatever the case may be." She was not there to represent him. She did not know anything about the property. She can
right.
get the MLS and look at what's documented, but as a agent and our fiduciary responsibility is to look out for our clients. So you telling your client, hey, go look at properties and I'll write a contract, that should have been a red flag.
That should have been a red flag, a slap in the face. That should have been an automatic fire. That should have been a lot of things. But I mean, it's so disheartening to us because we do the most for our buyers. We negotiate, we strategize, we're teaming up to get them the best deal every time, whether you're a buyer or seller. I mean, I can't even imagine that situation, working out for anybody because even if he did love the house, he wrote the contract. I mean, the problems were going to continue to unfold
Because
as
he didn't have representation.
he didn't have representation. Not, well, he had a paper that was signed that said he was being represented, but he was not being advocated for.
Correct.
And that's what we want to explain. When you sign a buyer's representation, that is saying that somebody's going to represent you, but that does not mean that they are going to advocate for you. And that's what you're looking for. That representation form shouldn't be signed until you understand that that person is going to work for you and advocate for you and strategize for you and check all the boxes because a signed paper is, I mean, will it get the buyer agent a paycheck? Yes, it will get the buyer's agent a paycheck. But will that do anything for you? No, it's not necessarily going to do anything for you unless you know the person that you are signing with is going to work for you.
So as a consumer, if you're signing these documents and you are on Zillow and you're wanting to see homes and you get with an agent that says, "Hey, do you have a buyer's representation agreement signed?" and your answer is no, then that, I mean, you have to understand though, as a buyer's agent, we're asking questions because we want to know where you're at in the process. We're protecting our time and yours. We want to advocate for you as much as we can, but we can't do that if you have an agreement already signed.
Yep.
And we're asking these questions because we need to know where and how to navigate the situation.
Yeah, you have to know that answer. So if you are a consumer looking for a home, we're not saying don't sign a buyer's representation. You have to sign one. You need to sign one. You need to pick an agent and you
But
need
you
to,
need to pick an agent.
that
That's the, yeah, you need to pick an agent that you understand what you're signing. So if the agent gets on the phone and says, "Hey, let's meet at the office and let's talk about what you're looking for." If an agent is genuinely concerned about what you're doing and why you're doing it and wanting to understand what your goal is, then take that in consideration. They might have a good thing going for you, you know?
yeah, I
I
mean,
mean, that
absolutely.
other agent obviously did not have any of that in mind. It was just Go find the house. And again, I was telling the buyer, look, this house may or may not be for you, but I want to know what you're looking for. So if it's not, let's go find one that is. And I don't care if you buy a home tomorrow or 6 months from now. It doesn't matter to me, but I want to know that I'm doing my due diligence and looking and hearing what you're looking for so I can find it because I have access to things you don't.
Yeah, it's just a part of the process. And we, like we said, we want you to sign a buyer's representation. We just want to make sure that somebody's advocating for you, is in your corner negotiating. And sadly, there are how many real estate agents that fail in this industry, Nicole?
90 something percent
Okay, so there's a lot of them
within
that
the first year.
okay. So we have said, and we tell you guys, 10 years of experience, thousands of customers we've helped buy a home. It means something. Representation, advocacy, those things mean something to us. We want to strategize for you. We want to negotiate for you, and we expect that the other real estate agents in this industry are doing the same thing. But sadly, that's not happening, as we saw again today. So in the meantime, we lay out a process for you. We have the steps for you to buy a house. We want you to do that. We want you to know what you're doing before you get into buying spending hundreds of thousands of dollars and signing up for a 30-year mortgage. We want to educate you. So this was a tidbit of education for y'all today. If you have questions about anything, send us a DM. We'll be happy to answer for you. Again, we're here to advocate for you.
If you love today's episode, like, subscribe, or share.
And until next time, keep dreaming big, planning smart, and remember, with the right team, you hold the keys.